Who doesn't love a good comeback? Elvis Presley's comeback special in 1968. Liverpool Football Club in Istanbul in 2005. And GB News star Angela Rippon last night on Strictly, a show she used to present. She's still got the moves, and yes, cancel me for this, she's still got the legs. And this week, Rishi Sunak showed that he's got legs too, although his are somewhat shorter than Angela's. He has showed the country a bit of leg too, with a more sensible and rational approach to the environment, giving petrol and diesel cars a 5-year stay of execution, a reprieve for perfectly efficient and cheaper gas boilers that do the job, and an approach to getting those carbon emissions down that works alongside the needs of the economy, reflects what we can afford, and engages the will of the people. So with this bold move, Rishi Sunak has done his bit for democracy and for people power. As I said on Friday, this more realistic and honest approach to net zero could be his Falklands moment, his get Brexit done moment. The target to get those emissions down by 2050 remains, but his decision to grant hundreds of oil and gas licences alongside a push for green renewables will protect our economy and guarantee our energy security so that we're not reliant on tyrants like Vladimir Putin or despotic regimes like Saudi Arabia just to keep the lights on. Energy security is national security. Which is why Sir Keir Starmer, the cervix-free leader of the opposition, is now going to carry his unflinching commitment to net zero like an albatross around his neck. What will voters who are struggling with the cost of living make of his announcement this week that he will reverse this decision on new petrol and diesel cars, banning them by 2030, meaning that many Brits will struggle to replace their current vehicle? Plus, by the way, no new oil and gas licences for the North Sea. And what about this war on motorists? Of course, if you listen to Sky News presenters, apparently poor people don't drive cars. Who knew? Get yourself out of London, dear. You might learn a thing or two. Keir Starmer should get out of London too. All of his ideas go down a storm in Islington, but his party's indulgence of woke ideologies, like the idea women can have penises, that Britain has a shameful past, or that everything's racist, including the countryside, mathematics and knitting, all of that goes down like a cup of cold sick outside of the capital. Starmer's religious commitment to net zero, which is tantamount to a cult, and his obvious desire to realign with, if not rejoin, the EU, became all too apparent this week as he kissed Emmanuel Macron's arse in the Élysée Palace. He told a Canadian conference that he didn't want to diverge from EU rules, which he now denies. Of course he does. And he even announced that his plan to stop the boats was a cosy deal with Brussels that could see us accept upwards of 100,000 people a year. Plus, his plan to reopen the Brexit deal has been laughed at, even by his friends on the continent. Meanwhile, Sunak is tapping into Brexit benefits, tearing up stifling EU rules to kickstart the construction of hundreds of thousands of much-needed new houses. A trade deal with India is just a whisker away, and the City of London is planning major reforms which could see a £200 billion Brexit bonus for the economy. While Sunak is embracing our newfound sovereignty and independence, it's clear that Starmer's Europhile pals are still in mourning. Take a look at this. Here they are, cavorting in central London at a march which managed an attendance of just 3,000 people. That's 3% of those expected to attend. And here are some of them demonstrating why so many stayed away. Now, congratulations to my brilliant colleague Ben Leo, star reporter on Dan Wootton Tonight, whose questions down at the march, which turned out to be a slow shuffle, revealed just how irrational these arch Remainers actually are.
The other countries seem to have recovered a lot better from it than we have.
Germany's in recession though, and we're not. So how is that true?
I'm not an economist.
Yeah. What else do you miss about the EU?
No, I like the EU.
He was struggling. That was like me on Celebrity Pointless. Listen, Things are going Sunak's way. You can't deny it. Inflation looks to have peaked. Interest rates were held this week. And with the economy on the up, just as Germany and the Eurozone struggle, events, dear boys, events are playing in his favour. Which is why I think Sunak should seize the initiative and call an earlier election in May of next year. We know he can eke it out until January 2025, but to go early is a sign of confidence. He can show that he's owning this, and an early poll sends a message that Britain's future is bright, not bleak. This week, the battle lines have been drawn. The tyranny of woke culture, which most people hate, including many on the left. The cult of net zero. White elephant nonsense like HS2. Unlocking house building, embracing Brexit, not unpicking it, protecting pensions, stopping the boats and cutting taxes to boost the economy. Sunak's approach will not be popular everywhere. Ideologically, it's Islington versus the rest of the UK. Well, bring it on. London isn't Britain. Sunak has talked about a more honest politics in which he wants to be straight with the public. Well, the cold hard truth is that the next election is all to play for. Rishi should go to the country. Sunak rather than later. A May poll may work in his favour and spring Keir Starmer a surprise.